So today is Earth Day, and I wanted to talk about a resource that plays a major role in our experience here on Earth. It's a renewable resource that every person and many animals are able to generate. It contributes to creating an environment where all beings can thrive and feel safe. So this is the resource of love. It's the wish for others to have happiness and the causes of happiness. And Geshe Dadul has been explaining, as he's been teaching samsara, nirvana, and Buddha nature, and the capacity for us to develop our virtuous qualities limitlessly, how that those virtuous qualities have this inverse relationship with our non-virtuous qualities. And so as we cultivate more love, our anger naturally decreases. And when I look at my own mind, I see a pretty strong bias in my love and my capacity to really equally wish all beings happiness right now. I see that two people can do the same thing, but if I'm kind of feeling close and have a connection with one of those people, I, maybe don't think anything of it, look past it, don't even really notice that they do it. But if I have some sort of feelings of disconnect or resentment and irritation with the other person, if they do the same thing, then I'm automatically looking at that as a fault. I noticed this also in my relationship with plants, and since it's Earth Day, I'll share. So there are many plants here that have a lot of stingers and thorns on them. A couple examples are the acacia trees outside Lower Gotami and in the parking area, and also nettles that grow by the creek. And they both have pretty nasty thorns. The acacia trees have more thorns that will rip my skin, and the nettles have thorns that more make kind of a electrified feeling in wherever they hit me. But I love the nettles. And I don't like the acacia plants. And the nettles, I was washing them the other day, and I didn't use gloves because I love them, they're my friends. And my hand was, still a little bit stingy, but I don't mind. We're connected. At the same time, the acacia plants, especially as they don't have any leaves on them, they're just kind of covered in all these thorns, and even when they do bloom and are beautiful, they still, underneath that is all these nasty, nasty thorns. So I can see how I can easily overlook the stinging of the stinging nettles and appreciate their good qualities still through that, but the acacia plants, that's all I see is those thorns, even when they're really beautiful and in bloom. And so no doubt, that is how I experience others as well. So this winter, I was reading this book, The Buddhist Teachings on Social and Communal Harmony, and it's a collection of sutras that Bhikkhu Bodhi put together that have different topics. And the one that really stands out to me is in the section of dealing with anger. And when I read it, I didn't actually think of it as working on anger as much as cultivating this attitude of loving kindness. And it's where Shariputra teaches these 5 ways to remove resentment towards a person. And I was looking back on some of my notes and saw this illustration of resentment or grudge holding as a knot in the mind that, without forgetting, firmly holds on to the fact that one was harmed by a particular person and wishes to retaliate. And this seems like a really accurate description of how I can feel towards a person. And maybe that retaliation isn't something really overt and violent, but maybe like when they walk in the room, I turn the other way. Or maybe if I see that I could give them a hand, I just kind of pretend that I don't notice. Or if they ask for some sort of support, I'm kind of too busy. So these little ways I can hold that grudge against someone. But Shariputra really cut through any excuse that I had to hold a grudge. And he addressed 5 scenarios of kind of people that I might meet. They are people who have virtuous physical behavior, but non-virtuous speech. people who have non-virtuous speech but virtuous actions, people who have both non-virtuous physical and virtuous action. They have non-virtuous physical and verbal actions, but occasionally they have an open mind and some calmness and are not so agitated. And the fourth type of person is a person who has non-virtuous verbal and physical actions and who never has an open mind and who is never really in this kind of calm or state of, like they are always kind of agitated. That's how I was reading it. And then the fifth person is a person, of course, whose physical and verbal behavior are pure, and from time to time they have an open mind. They're calm and not easily agitated. So I don't need to talk about that fifth person. We probably get along with them well. But for the other four, Shariputra advises us to really not attend to the non-virtuous behavior. And when someone doesn't have skillful actions, and they do have skillful speech, pay attention to their speech and rejoice when their speech is kind and virtuous and supportive of others. But then we get to that person who doesn't really seem to exhibit any good qualities, who has really coarse and unskillful verbal and physical actions and always seems to be agitated. And Shariputra instructs us to cultivate loving kindness and think, may this person abandon their harmful actions and develop virtuous actions. May they abandon their mental misbehavior and develop good mental behavior. How come? Because when this person dies, if in their life they can cultivate positive and virtuous behaviors of their body, speech, and mind, they're not guaranteed to go to a place where they're going to encounter constant, gross, intense suffering. And so, in this way, we can abandon our resentment towards a person because we're really wishing for them to cultivate happiness and its causes so that they can experience the results of their karma and the actions that they're creating the results to experience in the future. So reading this, it just went in really deep and supported me to work on this loving kindness. That even if a person has no apparent good qualities, I can still really wish them well. And what that does in my own mind is it opens it up. Like even if my thoughts towards someone don't really affect that person, what it does is it helps me when I am interacting with that person or thinking about that person to really have a more virtuous motivation and to really want to help them create happiness. So I'm not being like the thorn of the acacia tree and, finding those places to poke or just looking at their negative qualities, but instead seeing the humanness of the person in front of me. And so I've been trying to do just a few minutes of loving kindness meditation each day during my practice, and mostly with people in the community, which has been really nice to just see like where was there maybe a little bit of tension or a time when I felt my own heart closed towards someone, and then can I use just a few minutes in meditation to wish them well and to wish them happiness. To wish for them to be loved and supported, for them to feel safe. And in cultivating these attitudes in my meditation, that really has helped me to, come to that person with a more open mind later in the day. I've also been working just with a couple of groups of people more broadly that I don't really interact with daily, but I find also that my heart can really close towards, and I can ruminate and talk about why they're wrong and why I'm right. And I've kind of imagined, what would it be like if we had a guest here and we're sitting down for lunch, and they say something like, yeah, I was at January 6th, and they're really excited about that. How can I manage my own mind so that I can respond in a skillful way? Because no matter what I say, if it comes from a place of anger, it's not going to be effective or skillful. And so I think about this, and I think about really similar to some of the things that Venerable was just describing earlier today about seeing their impermanence and how, just like me, their ideas have changed and evolved over time. Like what I think and believe now, I haven't always thought and believed, and those ideas will continue to develop as I get older. And so, in that same way, what their ideas are right now are not fixed and solid, and they have the potential to develop ideas that are more encompassing and tolerant, and maybe not so wanting, kind of everyone to be like them, everyone to follow the same religion or to be the same. I also think about that they want happiness, and that they think they're doing what is bringing happiness. They think they're doing the right thing. And so to cultivate some compassion for that, because actually the causes of happiness are engaging in ethical behavior and things that are supportive of others. And I see a lot of harm being done in things like January 6th, these laws that are being passed that are against transgender people participating in sports or getting medical care that they would like and need, book banning, a number of things that are having a negative impact on others. But at the same time, the people who are doing it, I'm sure they feel they're doing the right thing. And so to have that compassion, because actually they're creating the causes for their own future suffering. And another group that I've been working with recently, because we've been hearing there's been a number of shootings in the news because people have made simple mistakes like ringing the wrong doorbell or going up the wrong driveway and ended up being shot by someone. And it's easy for me to cultivate this loving attitude of wanting the victim to be happy and to be healthy, but then also like the person who is shooting them is clearly really suffering. To live with that kind of fear and anger and hatred, so much so that just with the smallest thing, like someone knocking on your door or someone coming to get their basketball out of your yard, like that is like triggering such severe violence. And so to really, I've been bringing them into my loving kindness meditation, into wishing them to be free from their anger and their hatred. And just imagining what it might be like to live with these really strong afflictions and opening my heart to them in that way to see that we're not so different, and it's their environment and many causes and conditions coming together that are leading to this result, that they're not this fixed bad person, but they're in a situation where they're completely overwhelmed by negative emotions, and this is leading to really harmful results for others and for themselves. I think of Earth Day often as thinking of the environment around us, but really we all are the environment. We are humans, we're people of the earth, we're consisting of the same elements of the earth, water, fire, air. We ingest and cycle elements and nutrients through our bodies. And so what we do in our heart really does matter and really contributes to what we are able to experience. So the more that we can cultivate a loving heart and decrease our anger, the more we're going to be able to cultivate these causes of happiness for ourselves, and then really show that as a model for others and be able to extend these tools that the Buddha taught us to transform situations into the path to this lasting happiness, where we can really be of the most benefit to others, supporting the environment around us to really be one that honors and respects each other and provides space for diverse ideas and different ways of doing things, to really add to this incredible diversity of life, instead of I just need things to be done my way, and there's no room for Yeah, for our individual contributions. So I hope that you enjoy Earth Day, and we can really celebrate our role in adding to a positive environment here on Earth.